And to you, that there is Charlie Rich out of 1973, the most beautiful girl, I should say, not world. It could be a beautiful world. Matthew Dickerson, I think you married yours, didn't you?
I did marry the most beautiful woman in the world.
She'll love me this morning, won't she?
She will. Avid to you listener, so she'll be sitting there listening now and going, oh, that Brett Morris, that's a nice guy.
I know. And then she'll probably, think, did the mayor set him up? No, we mean it, and that's what people do. Thanks for coming in and seeing us, Dubbo Regional Council Mayor Matthew Dickerson. It is nice to see you. I caught up with Murray Wood, your Chief Executive of Dubbo Regional Council, and he mentioned about Penny Sharp, the Minister, coming out and making a huge announcement the other day. Tell me quickly about that, if you can go through that again.
I can go through that again very quickly. There has been an announcement previously about $128 million, $128.4 million, to be spread amongst four councils, the four councils that are impacted by the renewable energy zone. So ourselves, Mid-Western Regional Council, Warrumbungle Shire Council and the Upper Hunter. Now that's obviously spread out, and just getting about how you make the applications for that and start to get that money. What they announced on Monday when Penny Sharp was here was that the first round of that is basically ready to go now. They'll be taking applications, and they've broken that up into four different categories for the first round. $70 million or $70.5 million in the first round. $500,000 of that is just for community groups, just to put in applications, small applications. So those community groups out there that are running an event, that need something extra, that need some help with it, need some help with their club, whatever, be able to put in those. And these aren't council guidelines, so I don't have the exact guidelines off the top of my head, but they're all on the EnergyCo website. You've then got $15 million for First Nations development. So if you're an Aboriginal organisation, you want to develop your organisation, develop that in a range of different ways, $15 million there. $10 million for community infrastructure from community funds. But the one I'm most excited about, Brett, not just because it's the biggest number, but because I can see some very practical outcomes, is $45 million that the councils across those areas are eligible to apply for. Now, I don't know that they're going to say exactly $45 million, that means $10.25 million for each council. But I imagine that approximately they'll divide it up amongst that way. So from our perspective, that's exciting. And what they're really focused on, and this is the thing I'm happiest about, Brett, is they're focused on things that will deliver, in that $45 million in particular, lasting economic activity, regional economic activity. Make sure you're doing things that aren't just nice today for some residents. Do things that are going to be long term. And of course, the React Centre that you've heard me talk about before, that's something that could fall into that category. Now, we'll look at all our different priorities and council will make a decision, so I'm not saying that's what council is going to put the money in for, but that's the top thing. And in fact, I spoke to Penny Sharp via text before she came on Monday and talked to a couple of her advisors before she came out, and they asked me to speak at the media conference when they were making the announcements, and they said, could you mention something like the React Centre as the type of thing, not that we're guaranteeing funding for it, you haven't got the money, you've got to go through the application process, but as an example of something that will deliver long-term economic benefits. So that's all very exciting, but it's also getting very real, Brett. And this is the thing, it's real already. Every year we give out funds from the Budangra Community Fund, which is from the Budangra Wind Farm. That's been there for some time, goes back to Wellington Shire Council days. But this is getting real and real and real as more things start to happen. Squadron opened up an office in Wellington with 10 employees in there. That's getting real. So people aren't quite sure how they'll see the benefits from being around a res. Well, we're starting to see some of these real benefits flow through.
And I guess the Central West Orana res, the renewable energy zone, I almost forgot what it meant. It's pretty exciting, and that's what I was talking with Murray about, because this is the first one in the state. So this is pretty much almost a pilot, and we're on board with that. And there's a lot of good things that are going to come out of that, and we're really sort of writing the rule book, aren't we, for it?
It's very important. We are playing a leadership role across the state and in some terms across the nation. We've certainly met with federal government. I met with the Commissioner, the Renewable Energy Commissioner, I'm not sure his exact title, but Renewable Energy Commissioner just this week to talk about some of the things we're doing in Dubbo, and he's very focused on how Dubbo is approaching various aspects of this. And the approach we're taking, Brett, and I want to make this clear to our residents, is that we don't get to say yes or no to renewables. Some people are in favour of them, they want more of them. They say, can you put some on my property? Some people don't like them. Some people say, we think they're ugly, can you take them away? We don't get to say yes or no. So you've got to know your boundaries, you've got to know your powers, and you've got to be comfortable with those. I can't demand that suddenly all of these DAs, all these development applications start to come to council because the state government's going to say, sorry, that's not how it works. Our job is to make sure that we take full advantage of it. So there's no good standing there saying, stop it, stop it, stop it, it's all terrible. And meanwhile, you miss these opportunities. So we've had a good discussion about that at council. And this council has said it's happening. Nothing to do with us. Whatever we do, it's going to happen regardless. So why don't we take advantage of it? Why don't we do everything in our power to maximise the benefits? And I don't think it was a coincidence that out of the 4 councils that Penny Sharp could have made the announcement in on Monday, then the fact that she chose Dubbo Regional Council probably, and I haven't heard this from Penny, so I'm not trying to paraphrase anything from Penny, but I just think that the positive attitude that Dubbo has taken and the approach to say, how can we make this great for our residents? I think they probably said, well, let's go to somewhere that's really been working hard to make this good for their residents.
Murray Wood said that this could be a training ground for people for, the renewable energies and that sort of thing. And it means that there will be a lot more jobs out here too. So this is good news for the region.
Well, the REACT Centre in particular could be a training centre. That's the T on the end stands for that. The REACT stands for Renewable Energy Awareness and Career Training Centre. And the fact that we got 4 of the proponents to give us $50,000 each, so $200,000 to do a full feasibility study, says that yes, absolutely, there is a training potential for those proponents. They wouldn't give us $50,000 just because they like our smile. They want to see some benefits. And at the moment, they might have to send some of their workers, some of their employees to Victoria or to Queensland to get some of that training done. Wouldn't it make more sense to have the training done right here? And there's also a ready-made workforce very close by in terms of the correctional centre. I know there are some people in the correctional centre who have jobs in the outside world now, and they go back and stay at the correctional centre each night. Imagine having some of those people that are living there going across the road, working in some of these various renewable projects after having done the training, and then when they get out, they've got some money in their pocket, they've got a job, they're probably less likely to go and recommit crimes because they say, well, I've got a job, I'm earning money, I can pay for somewhere to live, things are pretty good. So there's all these other benefits I think that we just don't know about. But the real secret for me, which is not much of a secret because I'm going to tell you and your tens of thousands of listeners, is that the whole concept of the REACT Centre started out as being a long-term visitor experience centre. Okay. Just like the Parkes Telescope, 100,000 people a year go through there. The Snowy Hydro Discovery Centre, 150,000 a year. I'm aiming, this is my big picture aim here, if we can get 100,000 people a year going through a visitor centre, so imagine the training's finished, all the build's finished, we now have those 37 proponents supplying 42% of the state's power from our RES, and there's a visitor centre there, and you've got schools in Sydney, across the nation maybe, saying, let's go out to that REACT Centre and let's learn a bit more about renewables. Let's talk to the people that are manning that. 100,000 visitors a year would fundamentally change the economy of Wellington forever. And that's the sort of thing we're talking about. We've already had talks with Questacon about how we can set up exhibits in this centre to be interaction or to be able to be interacted with students that come through and actually have people learn about renewables as they go through. So it's exciting, Brett.
I'm feeling those butterflies that you probably already have, the excitement about it. So, I mean, that's all good. Just quickly, there's a couple of last council meetings on the way before you go into a caretaker mode. And you've also got a decision for the Australian Day decision coming up. Tell me a bit, what's going to happen there, do you reckon?
So next Thursday is the very second last council meeting of this group of council, and then 15th of August is the last one. 16th of August we're going to caretaker mode. The Australia Day one, I'll talk briefly about that. I know we're getting close to 8 o'clock, so very briefly on the Australia Day one. Just let me stress, Brett, again, this council is not trying to change the date of Australia Day. Australia Day is the 26th of January. We don't have the power to change that. We don't have the inclination to change that. But it makes sense for a whole range of reasons to potentially have the ceremony the night before or 2 nights before. We've done it in Wellington the last 2 years as a twilight event. Our recommendation from our committees to go through to our council meeting next week is to have the Dubbo event at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday the 25th of January, the Wellington event at 6:30 p.m. on Friday the 24th of January. Given the fact that Sunday is Australia Day next year, Monday is a public holiday. So that long weekend means that maybe it makes sense to have those as 2 twilight events. That's what we've recommended. We've said to the community, please ring your councillor, ring your local councillor, your preferred councillor, email, text your preferred councillor and say, here's what we think of this proposal. We're not changing the date. Keep in mind, the Australian of the Year, the most prestigious award in this nation, is announced at an event on, guess what, the 25th of January. So it's not like it's unprecedented. And the history of Australia Day, it was only 1946, so it's not forever, a long time, but 1946 when the states and territories all finally agreed on the 26th of January. And it was only 1994 when all the states and territories and the federal government said that will be the day the public holiday is. So there's some history there, but we're not changing that. We're just saying the ceremony, the actual ceremony.
All right, really quickly, the wheels of the bus, or in your case, the minivan, go round and round today. You're on a trip.
We're on a trip, we've got counsellors, and we do like to take counsellors to various locations to make sure they know about things in the community. Toongai, the ASM mine at Toongai we're going to, and then across to Tomingley, and then back to Dubbo. And this is the sort of commitment councillors make. So councillors are taking today off work, or at least half a day off work, to go and be on these tours. Again, you get paid your $27,050 as a councillor, and you're having to take days off work to come and do this, but to learn about things in the community. The Toongai mine, once that goes ahead, will be another really important project in Dubbo, injecting a lot of money into the economy.
Dubbo Region Mayor Matt Dickinson, have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.